Hello and welcome to a reading by the Classical Republican of Eire, the Social and Economic Program of Sinn Fein, 1971. The Constitution of Sinn Fein advocates not merely the complete overthrow of English rule in Ireland, but also the setting up of a democratic socialist republic based on the Proclamation of 1916. Among our objectives are the establishment of a reign of social justice based on Christian principles by a just distribution and effective control of the nation's wealth and resources, and the institution of a system of government suited to the particular needs of the people. Sinn Féin has never looked on the ending of British rule in Ireland as an end in itself, but rather as a means to restore the ownership of Ireland to the people of Ireland. That's from the 1916 proclamation. In the words of the Democratic Program of Dáil Éireann, 1919, which quoted Padraig Pearse, quote, "We declare that the nation's sovereignty extends not only to all men and women of the nation, but to all its material possessions, the nation's soil and all its resources, all the wealth and all the wealth-producing processes within the nation, and with Pearse, we reaffirm that all rights to private property must be subordinated to the public right and welfare." End quote. Sinn Féin seeks to establish a system in which exploitation of man by man will not feature, and which will be truly democratic right down through society. Quote, "We declare that we desire our country to be ruled in accordance with the principles of liberty, equality, and justice for all, which alone can secure permanence of government in the willing adhesion of the people." It's from the Democratic Program of Dáil Éireann, 1919. End quote. Over the past few years, much time and effort was devoted within Sinn Féin to preparing this social and economic program, which we are now publishing. Some of those who are involved in an attempt to take over the Republican movement had it suppressed, however, in favor of a more extreme draft outline, which was never published. During the past 12 months, the program has been revised, updated, and prepared for publication. Some of the more important and fundamental features of the program can be summarized as follows. Number one, the wealth of Ireland belongs to the people of Ireland and is theirs to be exploited and developed in their interests. Number two, to ensure justice for all, the means of production, distribution, and exchange must be controlled by the people and administered democratically. Number three, finance, insurance, and all key industries must be brought under state control. The principal agent of major development in industry, agriculture, and fisheries must be the state. Number four, the state will have complete control over the import and export of money. Number five, an upper limit will be placed on the amount of land any one individual may own. Large ranches will be taken over and leased to groups of families to run on cooperative lines. Only resident citizens of the Republic will be allowed to own, purchase, or lease land within Ireland. Number six, apart from the sectors mentioned above, the main instrument of economic development will be cooperative enterprises in production, distribution, and exchange. These will be based on the Camarna Camarson, a philosophy which is founded on the right of worker ownership and is native Irish, as well as being cooperative or distributist in character. Each individual worker will own an economic unit of the means of production in the form of farm, workshop, business, or share in a factory or other cooperative. Here is real industrial democracy. Credit unions will play an important role in this type of development. Number seven, private enterprise will still have a role to play in the economy, but it will be a much smaller role than it has today. It will have no place in key industries, and state incentives will favor cooperative projects as the most socially desirable. no non-national shall be allowed to have a controlling interest in an Irish industry. Number 8, an independent stand will be taken in foreign policy. Power blocks such as NATO and the EEC on the one hand and Comecon and the Warsaw Pact on the other will be avoided. Trade will be expanded with the smaller and neutral nations of Europe and with the countries of the Third World in Asia and Africa. We have more in common with the developing countries of the world, where 2/3 of the world's population live, than we have with the rich club of former colonial powers in the EEC. Trade links will be maintained with all countries and groups of states, such as the common market, with which a trade agreement should be negotiated. The aim will be to have as much free trade as possible, bearing in mind that certain industries will need protection for a period. Number 9, the Irish language and Irish culture will have an important part in the national effort, and their strengthening will have special attention. Number 10, pending the achievement of national independence of all 32 counties, an economic resistance movement will be built up to defend the interests of the Irish people against exploitation, whether from foreign takeovers or native Gombeen capitalism, to democratize industry and to promote the Kamar na Kamarsan philosophy. Efforts to push us into the common market will be rigorously resisted, and a demand will be made for the revoking of the Free Trade Area Agreement with England. In the drafting of this program, our aim has been to outline a social and economic system which would strike a balance between Western individualistic capitalism, with its poor and hungry amid plenty, on the right, and Eastern Soviet state capitalism, or any of its variations, with its denial of freedom and human rights, on the left. We hope this document will be widely reported, read, and studied. Constructive criticism and comments will be welcomed, because it is realized that as circumstances change, plans of this nature need to be revised and changed. Quote, "It is the duty of the nation to assure that every citizen shall have opportunity to spend his or her strength and faculties in the service of the people. In return for willing service, we, in the name of the Republic, declare the right of every citizen to an adequate share of the produce of the nation's labor." End quote. Democratic Program of Dáil Éireann, 1919.